Bumbabees, and welcome back to the Bumbacast. That's right, it's me, your girl, Teresa Bumbacco, here on a very special edition of the Bumbacast today. Today, I sat down with the one, the only Joe Exotic. That's right, Tiger King's Joe Exotic. Joseph Maldonado is currently serving a prison sentence for murder for hire, along with other animal neglect or abuse charges. Today, I sat down with Joe because I am trying to advocate for Joe to try to see if the Trump administration will consider a presidential clemency, aka commute of his sentence, to just get time served so he can just get out, or to just get a full presidential pardon. Either way. But Joe, at the very minimum, is trying to just get clemency. He just wants his sentence commuted. He wants to do time served, and then he would like to just be released at this point. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Teresa, why would you sit down with somebody that has like animal neglect or abuse charges on them or anything like that? Well, I do not believe that Joe Exotic ever abused or neglected any of his tigers in the way that they are claiming and the way that they charged him in court for this. I will go over exactly why I think this and some brief recaps at the end of this episode, but I don't want to keep talking your ear off. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Joseph Joe Exotic Maldonado.
Guess what, motherfucker?
It's showtime.
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept this call, press 5. To block this, you may begin speaking now.
Hey, sorry I'm late, but the prison had some problems this morning.
Oh, no, don't worry about it, Joe. I had a feeling that something was going on over there and you'd get to me when you could. Don't worry about it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. How are you doing this morning?
Hanging in there.
Yeah, I hear you. I heard that you're going through some health problems too as well.
Yeah, I've been fighting that since 21.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, how's it going though? Is it getting any better, or how's treatment going?
It's spreading.
Oh no. Wow. I'm so sorry to hear that, Joe. Well, I guess I don't know how much time we got this morning.
We got 15 minutes.
Okay, so we'll try.
Hang up.
Yeah, we'll get as much time as we can in. So,
Okay.
going over all those affidavits and everything that's been going on with all the perjuries in the case and everything like that. How does it make you feel that the government is, allegedly coaching witnesses in your case and twisting facts to, create a story that never would have happened without them?
Well, on that side, it doesn't surprise me. I would never have believed it, as much if I wouldn't have went through it, of how corrupt the justice system is. The sad part is they got to do that to people in order to fill these prisons. So the question really is who's making money off of this?
Right.
Why do they have to keep these prisons so full of people that really didn't commit a crime? But the saddest part about all of this is many of y'all that have put the evidence out there and the video statements and the affidavits of them admitting to perjury and admitting that they had a plot to kill me to start with, is the saddest part is that the Trump administration has still not made this right.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know that he's pardoning a bunch of people right now, and I know that you've submitted for clemency and presidential pardon. What's going on with that? Have they even reviewed it yet?
They don't tell you that. They just tell you that it's on file.
Oh, wow. So there's really no end in sight or any kind of, anything to expect right now. Damn.
It could happen any day or it could never happen.
Yeah, exactly. And I know that there's all kinds of things that we can do, and we can draft things to send to the president as well to try to get you out of there. But, just to kind of, touch a little bit on the fact that, a lot of this was basically a setup. I mean, myself, I'm a huge fan. I mean, I don't know. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched, the first season of the show just to see you because, huge fan. I mean, I can quote the whole show. And so, I mean, thank you for that, for hours of entertainment. I think if Netflix could take a tally on who's watched Tiger King more times than anybody else, I would definitely have that competition won.
Now, did you watch season 2?
I did watch season 2, and that's
now, why is the news not talking about that? that they got on world television and admitted that they lied.
Exactly.
Why can't I get that in the headlines?
Exactly. And I mean, even rewatching season one, because I just went back and rewatched season one the other day, and I mean, you can clearly tell in videos that Jeff Lowe is having someone take a view on camera where he's yelling at you. I mean, you can almost tell it's like he practiced what he was saying to you. It definitely
Oh,
came off
hey,
as fake, like it was
they're
not
they're
real.
pros. They're pros at it.
Yeah.
And the part that they wouldn't let me talk about in my trial, they had a gag order. I couldn't talk about Don Lewis missing, so I couldn't tell about how me and Carol's argument started. I
Right.
couldn't talk about Jeff and Lauren drugging and raping girls at the zoo by luring them in baby tigers. I couldn't talk about Jeff and James's credit card and bank fraud and ID theft in order to do sex trafficking. I couldn't explain nothing. Okay, and it's just like that where Jeff recorded me when he was bitching and throwing shit.
Mm-hmm.
He is so dangerous that if you don't tell him what he wants to hear, him and Lauren beat the hell out of you. Because I went for surgery one day to have a tumor removed from my sinuses.
Yeah.
And while I was in surgery, they beat up Dylan, my new husband, at the zoo.
Jeez. I mean,
That's how dangerous. That's how dangerous they are. Hell, since then they've came after every lawyer I've had. They've came after every private investigator I've had, and the government just keeps letting them get away with this. I don't even understand why witness tampering has not been a factor.
Yeah, I agree because I mean, even that, even that one guy that tried to harass and stalk you during your campaign and everything that, allegedly worked with one of the
This call
federal
is from a
agents.
federal prison.
Worked with one of the federal agents that worked on the case, trying to get that dropped locally. I mean, that's also, a
Yeah,
whole thing.
yeah. There was so much corruption going on, but what does it take to get the administration to see this?
Exactly. And I mean, it seems like, you were kind of the scapegoat for everybody to go after. And it doesn't seem like, I mean, even Jeff Lowe, I mean, all that's happened to him were a couple DUI charges and he ran off to Mexico, so they can't get him anymore.
Right,
So,
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
so that's where he
he's
is now.
wanted. He's wanted in Las Vegas. He's wanted in Oklahoma City. That's why if I win my appeal, because I've been on appeal for a year and 3 months for a new trial,
Yep.
if I win my appeal, they will never take me back to trial because their witnesses are screwed.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's crazy to me because, I mean, I know they've also got Doc Antle. I mean, he's pleading guilty to his but they've got him for fraud. They don't have him for anything else really. I mean, so it's, I feel like they're kind of trickling down the line here, but you definitely were the main target for whatever reason. And,
Well, that's because they needed me because I was the biggest in the industry.
right.
They needed to make me look like a crackhead and dangerous in order to pass the Big Cat Safety Act. Because
Right.
the minute they put me in jail and they made Tiger King, then they nicknamed that bill the Tiger King bill, and it passed. And who is exempt from it? Carole Baskin.
Of course. Yep. And
You
she
know,
doesn't, yeah, and she doesn't take, great care of her, big cats either. I mean the evidence is there. That's why she wasn't happy with season 1 and didn't partake in season 2 because she didn't like the way that they painted her. And it's like, well, you're not taking great care of your cat, so why are you coming after him?
right? And the world saw that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and yeah, the world absolutely saw that.
Yes, they did.
But what's amazes me even more with President Trump is the way he likes to kind of like stick it off and break it off in people. Is we have screenshots of Kamala Harris's Twitter where she brags about co-sponsoring that bill for Carol and for everybody to go watch Tiger King so they could get it passed.
Yeah, that's not right at all. I mean, it's all politically driven at the end of the day, and it didn't. I feel like it wasn't actually done to do good for big cats or
It done
anybody.
nothing for big
No,
cats.
so I mean, it was all a big show at the end of the day. It was just like okay,
Even the Big Cat Safety Act does nothing for big cats because
exactly.
all they done was took my cats and put them in their sanctuaries and charged people to come see them.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Jeff Lowe, I mean, he just took the zoo and everything and he just took off to Mexico. So, I mean, what came of that? I mean, those cats aren't even around the people they used to be.
No,
So
not at
it's,
all.
yeah, it's really sad. And I'm sorry about all that. And, I know that you loved your cats just from what I saw on the show and how close you were to them. I mean, we were going back and forth the other day about the videos of Bone Digger, your lion, with your Dachshunds that you had, your Dachshunds that you had, the Milo and everything like that. Like those videos of your Dachshund dogs hanging out with Bone Digger, the lion. I mean, like that right there. It just goes to
You know,
show.
people can say whatever they want to say from taking that show, but anybody that knows any kind of animal would know that if I abused my animals, I would never walk in a cage with 20 full-grown tigers at a time and be able to kiss every one of them on the face.
Exactly. Yep. And, even watching back the scenes of, when the cats were, sniffing your shoes. I think somebody did put like sardine
Oh,
oil on your shoes or something like that. I really
we
do.
have we have screenshots of Jeff Lowe bragging on Facebook after that happened. That yeah, they put perfume on my shoes.
Yeah. I think
And the
that they, mhm.
reason was it's the same way with he switched out my medicine one day with illegal drugs and tried to get me so fucked up because I don't do drugs. Tried to get me so fucked up in a cage that I would get killed. Okay, well their plan and if you watch that video again, you'll understand what I'm saying. Jeff and Eric and Lauren were standing outside the cage.
Just watch them.
The camera guy was taking the video,
Hmm.
and during that episode, not one person, not even the camera guy, budged that camera
Yep.
This call is from a federal prison.
to help Joe
Yep.
because Jeff was paying my life insurance benefit premiums, and he was the beneficiary.
Yeah. That's just crazy. I mean, and because it didn't work, he was like, "Well, I guess I got to take care of him another way. So let's set him
Yeah,
up for this." I mean, it's so clear to see that, even, Garrettson, I mean, he had all kinds of problems, so he probably got some kind of immunity, set you up, had all this going with Jeff Lowe, and that's what ended up happening. They all wanted to save themselves, so they threw you under the bus.
yeah, and every one of them were already convicted felons. Okay, I never had a speeding ticket in my life until I got arrested.
Yep. Exactly. And I mean, you've lived quite a life. I mean, you used to be, active in, your local, police department years ago, like your background and everything like that. So, you're very into helping people and you care about your community and your cats and everything like that, and I can get that from you. So it does make me angry when I see people take advantage of kind-hearted people like that, like Jeff Lowe and Garrettson and whatnot, to put you away for whatever reason, and they get away with it.
What do I got to do though to get Trump to listen to people like you? What does it take?
I don't know what it's going to take, but I mean, I'll do whatever I can out here. I mean, I'm going to draft my own presidential plea pardon to, the office, see what I can do, try to get the word out there on my end with my podcast listeners and audience, because I don't think a lot of people really know the truth about this case, too. And,
They don't because it's all clouded by Tiger King.
it is for sure. And, the thing that makes me the most angry is that they exaggerated the abuse claims. Like, what makes me angry is that you and John Ranke had absolute complete discretionary reasoning to, if you had to euthanize a big cat with a shotgun if the veterinarian could not get there in time, and there was a, wait period for it to happen. It's crazy with the USDA, so it was either have your big cat
Well,
suffer for months on end or do what you were legally allowed.
and then they would have complained about animal cruelty because we were keeping them alive to make money off of them.
Right.
Okay, but what even if the vet would have been there, which the vet was in the past, where we chose to put him down with a gun, we put tigers down for 23 years. Okay, and it was never an issue until they wanted to put me in jail.
Exactly.
When you tranquilize a big cat, sometimes you got to shoot them 4 and 5 times with 6 cc darts. Okay, and it's horrible.
Right.
Okay, it's painful. they freak out. They crawl the fence. They puke. They have seizures. They have convulsions for 45 minutes to an hour and a half before the vet can walk in and kill them.
That's horrible.
But I even had my friend buy darts so I can show the jury how horrible it was. They wouldn't let me use them. They wouldn't let me tell it.
That's crazy, and then that's what makes me the most angry because they do try to pull at the heartstrings of that. And so, we all love animals. So, of course, it's going to make people angry if you paint it out a certain way. They didn't actually perform full autopsies on the tigers either. They only took the heads. So,
Yep.
obviously, the cause of
you are spot on.
obviously the cause of death is going to say gunshot because you didn't do a full examination of the body.
Right, and if they would have showed that they had been declawed when I got them, and their feet were crippled. They couldn't walk. They were 23 years old. It would, and the text messages now that we have from Agent Bryant to Jeff Lowe and James saying we can't have the whole bodies because the jury will know they were sick.
Exactly.
And that's all part of my new trial appeal, but. Sweetie, this thing beeped, which means it's going to hang up in a minute. So,
okay, well,
anything very vital you want to ask?
Well, I mean, not really, Joe. I just want to make sure that you're okay in there. And, I'm going to get this episode out and you can always call me, anytime you want if you want to add more things on. But, if you get pardoned tomorrow, what would be the first thing you'd do?
Go get some clothes, get my earrings put back in, and go see my husband.
I hear that, Joe. Well, you stay safe in there, and I'm going to be praying for you, okay?
All right. Ask everybody to spread that evidence link around for me.
I'll be tasking them, okay? You have a great day.
Thank you.
All right.
'Cause I saw Tiger, now I understand. I saw Tiger, Tiger saw me.
Now, I'm going to be very real with you. Joe came off to me as a completely authentic and honest and very wronged person. I don't think he should be in there serving the amount of time that he has been sentenced to. I think his sentence should be commuted and he should be released on time served. Joe's going through prostate and lung cancer treatment while he's in prison right now. And as someone who personally knows what the medical and healthcare system is like in a prison system, if you thought it was bad as an American citizen free on the outside world, you cannot even fathom what it is like inside a prison facility, let alone any kind of federal or state-run prison facility. Point blank, end of story. Before I tell you why, we need to do whatever we can to free Joe Exotic. Now, the reason I think that is because there are several inconsistencies with Joe's case. First, the tigers that were found on the Greater Wynnewood Zoo property that were found with bullet wounds in their skulls, only the heads were recovered from these tigers that were found in the grave that were on the GW Zoo property. So cause of death was determined for all of these big cats that they died from a gunshot wound. No official autopsy was performed to see what was going on internally or what was wrong with them physically or anything like that. So obviously the autopsy report is going to conclude gunshot wound is why the big cats died. Something to know is that there is documentation that was submitted and was given in Joe's case to support that Joe himself and John Renke, that was one of Joe's employees for many years, had full legal right and responsibility given by their veterinarian as well as the USDA to euthanize a tiger through gunshot if the tiger could not withstand the time wait period that it would take for the veterinarian or the USDA to get there to euthanize them themselves, i.e. the big cat was suffering. Joe claims that these tigers were, about 22, 23 years old. They already had lived well past the normal age range that are expected for these big cats in the wild, let alone in captivity. And it was a crucial necessity to euthanize them in that way. Whereas if they had waited, the big cat could have suffered for anywhere up to like 6 to 10 months at a time. Not only is that something in the case that bothers me because it was painted out that Joe did something the wrong way, there's actual documentation that was put in his case to show no, he actually had legal right to do this, and it was actually the most humane way of euthanizing the big cats as opposed to constantly trying to shoot them up with tranquilizers and then euthanizing, which is basically like the legal capital punishment in the United States. It's just a prolonged euthanasia process, creating more discomfort, more fear in the big cat, and ultimately more suffering in the end. You know me, you know I love animals, and I want the animal to absolutely live and thrive. But if Joe is doing something legal and is doing it in a way that will cause the minimal amount of pain for this big cat, wouldn't you agree that that would be the best thing to do? Joe and I also went over Jeff Lowe and Garrettson depicted in the Netflix series on how he was set up by those people. I briefly touch on what I saw in my rewatch, my probably millionth rewatch of the show, of how clear it was that Jeff Lowe was definitely acting in certain video clips and conversations that he was sparking with Joe on purpose. It's just very clear that honestly, the feds didn't really have much on Joe for the murder for hire plot. So I agree that it was a way to pull at the heartstrings of the jury and other people to paint Joe out to be this malicious animal abuser that's going around and just killing his big cats off and just burying them on the property. It's definitely not that way. It was definitely painted out to be that way by Netflix and by the entirety of the show, unfortunately. And if you really go back and rewatch it through this lens now, I think you'd be very intrigued to realize how clear it was that Joe was set up. On camera, Jeff Lowe is like cracking up about Joe being almost attacked by 3 big cats in a cage when they were all sniffing around his shoes. They were just standing there watching him, like waiting for him to be mauled to death. Like they wouldn't have done anything to help him. They probably would have waited. If something would have happened, you would have never seen that footage because they would have known exactly what it was, a snuff film. It's horrible. Do I think big cats need to be in captivity? Absolutely not. I don't think anybody needs to be taking them from their natural environment and anything like that. But at this point, the statistic goes that there are more big cats in captivity in the United States than there are in the wild. And now we need to just protect the big cats that we have. And I don't think Carole Baskin is doing anything that's helping big cats. I've always thought that she was off. She's out there like showing these big cats in small cages saying, they deserve to roam free. Roam free in your backyard in a cage? I don't understand that. But they're all complicit. And I think Joe really loved his big cats and bonded with them in a way that was unique as opposed to all the other people that are depicted in the Netflix show. You could clearly tell that, yes, Joe used the big cats to make money, but it wasn't a sole monetary relationship. He loved those big cats. So I don't think that there is any rhyme or reason to not have Joe as a free man. I think Jeff Lowe definitely worked with, Alan Glover and with Garrettson from the Tiger King show to get Joe convicted, to get Joe charged. I think that if we can all work together to advocate for Joe, we might break through the surface and break through to the Trump administration to see what we can do about getting him out. I don't think any man that's been framed or pushed into a situation that they wouldn't have been in otherwise had there not been external forces pushing it on them, which is, I think, what happened. I think Jeff Lowe and Alan Glover and them were like, let's set Joe up. They all coordinated together to set Joe up, and Joe kind of just went along with it like, okay, I guess, whatever. Otherwise, Joe would have never been sending money or allegedly sending money to people to have Carole Baskin killed. Like, no, that would have never happened. If Jeff Lowe and Alan Glover and them hadn't come along, Joe would be a free man at the Greater Winterwood Zoo right now. And there would have only been maybe a Tiger King documentary about the fact that he exists over there. There wouldn't be any kind of federal investigation or anything weird going on. I mean, maybe there would have been some beef between him and Carole, but I don't think it would have escalated to any point beyond what happened between them. And I think it would have died there. I don't think if Jeff Lowe stayed away, I don't think anything that's happened to Joe would have happened. Also, Jeff Lowe has done this before. There was another business partner he worked with after Joe that he was trying to build another zoo or something like that with. And Jeff Lowe ended up doing the exact same thing to that business partner. Business partner said that he allegedly caught wind of something that Jeff and his wife Lauren were doing, and he didn't really think much of it, wasn't going to do anything about it. And right after that, Jeff and Lauren ended up ruining his life, got him charged with things, put him like hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And now Jeff and Lauren Lowe live in Mexico and have some kind of big cat thing over there in Playa del Carmen. So there's a reason they don't live in the United States anymore. They literally just took Joe's zoo just to run away to Mexico. It really doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to be drafting up a presidential pardon on my end to kind of make it the way that it needs to be worded and bring up all the key facts in the case. And I would really encourage all of you listening to this to take the template. I'll put it up in a link on my link tree in my social media pages. So you can access it easily. You can just print it out, put your name at the bottom of it. I'll leave it blank so you can just put your name on it and sign it off yourself. And I will give you the link to the email addresses, the mailing addresses, the phone numbers that you need to call. I will give you all of that information in the link as well as right now. If you would like to sign the petition at change.org to help free Joe and donate to his cause, you can go to change.org/justice for Joe Exotic. That's JUSTICEFORJOEEXOTIC. For affidavit and petition information and contact information for Joe in order to donate and also go through evidence and keep up with any kind of news updates or to even shop Joe's merchandise, you can go to joeexoticofficial.com, JOEXOTICOFFICIAL.com. Now, I'm going to put up a format of the presidential pardon plea that I'm going to personally send for myself on behalf of Joe. I know that there are other people that are doing it as well. If you would like to do it or type up your own or use mine, either way, preferably the Department of Justice's Office of the Pardon Attorney requires that you preferably email them documents in PDF or Word format specifically. So just download either my format as a PDF or turn your personal plea into a PDF if you don't have it as an immediate Word format document that can be opened easily. They prefer you to email that document for the presidential pardon plea to USPARDONEY@USDOJ.gov. So that would be USPardon.attorney@USDOJ.gov. So if you cannot email, you can also mail your forms either typed or printed in ink. It doesn't say what color ink, but I would prefer probably black or blue. Imagine probably just black, to the U.S. Department of Justice, attention, Office of the Pardon Attorney at 950 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. 20530. Submissions by mail do take longer to process than other methods. So you probably should just submit it by email to that email address that I listed before. If you do want to keep up with anything updated with Joe Exotic, you can always follow him on his social media pages. And you can also always, like I said, go to joeexoticofficial.com. That gives you everything. Joe's social media handles are on Facebook. It's Joe, Joej, Schreibevogel, SCHREIBEVOGEL, EIBVOGEL. You can also find him on Instagram, Joe_exotic. You can find him on Twitter, Joe_exotic. Also on TikTok, _Joe Exotic. YouTube, Joe Exotic TV, no spaces or underscores. Also, he has a Discord, and you can find him at discord.gg/H35KJVG7. So if that's where you would like to keep up with Joe Exotic, like I said, you can also support him by sending money to his PayPal, probably get some commissary or something like that, or at least help with legal fees while he fights this. So, like I said, go with your heart. Do you really want to see a man struggling with his health in a prison cell that's ultimately been set up for the charges that he even has to begin with in there? I mean, I don't. That's not something that I advocate for. And I would honestly be really happy to see Joe Exotic walk out with time served if that's the ultimate goal for him. So I send my love to Joe. Hopefully I hear from him soon, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, my little Bumbabees. I will be back with the pop culture news very soon because I have decided that I'm not going to give the Diddy trial any more of my time because it is just a waste of my time, in all honesty. So please advocate for Joe Exotic. Please sign the presidential pardon and send it off to that email address that I've given to you, and please support. That's a wrap on this episode of the special edition of my interview with Joe Exotic. I hope you had as much fun as I did, keeping you as updated and as pop cultured as I physically can. You know I do it all for you and the love and support you keep on giving me. I'm so loved. You really love me.
You love me. You really love me.
I'm so grateful. Keep on spreading the good word and make sure you turn those automatic downloads on so you don't miss an episode. And if you're not following me on social media, what's your damage? You can find me on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at bumba.cast. And you can also find me on YouTube at the Bumbacast Pod. So until next time, I'll see you soon, my little Bumpabees. And hashtag free Joe Exotic.